Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, there are some channels on YouTube that mainly concentrate and talk about our economy and how our economy is doing and how it's doing terribly, really. And I agree with them. And how it's going to cause a lot of people to suffer. There are some channels that talk about finances. For example, how the stock market is doing, how the bond market is doing, which is what I personally think we really need to be watching out for. Once the bond market loses control, it's all over. And it's very important that we listen to them, because I believe that our financial system is on the cusp of having a cataclysmic implosion. There is no doubt that the U.S. has printed so much money in the last couple of years that there's no getting out of what they put us into. There's no getting out of it unless the system just crashes. And I believe that the system will crash, and I believe that it will put us into another system. And then there's other channels that teach you about tactics. They show you how to prepare your property for security. They talk a lot about firearms and how to use them and things like that, and those are great channels to watch as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I feel that my calling is to ensure that as many people that come across this channel feel an urgency to prepare, to get prepared and stay prepared for as long as possible. Why? Because eventually we will need those preps. We will need those things that we put away for a rainy day, because a rainy day is upon us. Now, I want to talk about something that I've talked about in the past, and it's something that I feel is so important that we need to continue to talk about it to ensure that we all understand that the time to prepare is now. It's yesterday. And that if you have not started to prepare, that you better start now. Ladies and gentlemen, I personally feel that by the middle of this summer to next fall or autumn, that we will see with our own eyes that people are waking up en masse. And those people that are now in the know, meaning you, that take the time to do some research and to look in to see exactly where we are with our food production, that you will be ahead of the hordes, and you won't have to be one of those that has to be panic buying and knocking someone over the head for a pack of toilet paper or a bag of rice. This gentleman warns that soaring energy bills could force heat or eat dilemma, meaning that people are having to decide whether to eat or to heat their homes. And that is happening now, ladies and gentlemen. In the UK, children are having to go to bed early because it's too cold for them to stay up till late at night. And this article here, ladies and gentlemen, details just that. It says, I've heard about families with young children getting into bed at 6 p.m. That's just devastating. That's not what should be happening to children, to be in bed because the house is too cold. People are going to have to put up with things that are much worse than this coming in the future, ladies and gentlemen. Heed the warning, because people are going to have to decide literally between heating their homes to a reasonable level and or putting food on their table. Drought robs Colorado farmers wheat. Now it may be too dry to plant corn this spring. I'm not really advocating that the government find a solution. However, with all of the regulations and laws that they have in place, they have not allowed for us to find a solution. For example, ladies and gentlemen, have you thought about all of the national parks that there are in the United States? Do you think that maybe there are some of those national parks in areas where we can actually grow food, where the ground is still very fertile because it hasn't been used for farming or growing anything in decades? I would say so, but the government won't allow us to use those places. They rather us go into a food shortage, as they've already indicated in the last few days here, where the president said that yes, we're going to be going to a food shortage. Well, where is the solution? Where is the solution? Colorado farmer Brian Brooks will be the first to tell you farming in the southeast corner of the Centennial State isn't for the faint of heart. You can see the wheat is trying to barely hang on to the roots, says Brooks, a farmer in Baca County, Colorado. You can just tell how abusive this winter has been. And I've talked about the winter harvest, ladies and gentlemen, the winter wheat harvest, how it's not going to be a very good one, and it's really going to affect our carryover going into this year. Brooks Farmer says Baca County is the epicenter of the Dust Bowl, and in an area used to arid climate, he says this winter has been nothing short of brutal. The last big rain event we had was in August. That was in August, ladies and gentlemen, about 9 months ago. It's the last time that they had any real rain. There are a few guys that got wheat up when they planted early, but the dryness has taken it. He thinks 80% of the dryland wheat in this area may not make it this year. 80%, ladies and gentlemen. And this is not just in one area in the U.S. This is in several places in the U.S. This is in Colorado, and we know that in Texas, they're going through something very similar. He continues to say, if you look at Texas, currently more than 80% of the winter wheat crop is rated at very poor to poor conditions. Now, for those of you that don't know, in order for the wheat to be acceptable for human consumption, it has to be at very good to excellent condition. And here, 80% is at very poor condition. So we still have a few more ratings before we can even get to human consumption ratings. Conditions are only marginally better as you head northward through Oklahoma into Kansas and Colorado. He says that because of the dry conditions this winter, that 50 and 60 mile an hour winds have taken away the topsoil, and that part of the topsoil that's very dry, that's been blown away, is the part that has the most nutrients. Brooks says that 70% of this area probably won't even get planted this year. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when they see what their input prices are, and then when they see what their yields are going to be, more than likely, they'll make more money by not planting and then claiming it on their insurance. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the story. This is the story that everyone should be talking about. Everyone should be talking about this at restaurants. Everyone should be talking about this when they have their morning coffee, because this, I believe, is going to affect us the most. This is going to have detrimental impact on everything that we do, ladies and gentlemen. Wheat and corn and soybean, that is everything. Fertilizer is food. All right, I've said it before. Fertilizer equals food, and people just don't understand how grave this is. Famine will occur, ladies and gentlemen. That's just a fact. The global fertilizer shortage means that far less food will be grown all over the planet in 2022. And Mr. Snyder goes on to say that thanks to an unprecedented explosion in energy prices, we were already facing a fertilizer crisis even before the war in Ukraine. But now that war has definitely taken things to the next level. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I reported on this before this war started out. And what Mr. Snyder here is saying is true. Because of the high energy prices, being that one of the byproducts of, I believe, is natural gas, liquid natural gas, is what's used to make some fertilizers, that prices were already exploding before this Ukraine thing started. And now that it started, being that Russia is one of the biggest fertilizer producers in the world, and both of them combined are some of the biggest wheat exporters in the world, it's only making things worse. He says that a fertilizer shortage has added to growing concerns about the Ukraine war's impact on the price and scarcity of basic items or basic foods. Combined, Russia and Belarus have provided about 40% of the world's export of potash, according to Morgan Stanley. Russia's exports were hit by sanctions. Further, in February, a major Belarus producer declared force majeure. And force majeure, ladies and gentlemen, is just that they cannot get the product. They have a contract and they say, all right, we're going to produce this much and provide you this much at this price. But if they just cannot produce the product, then they're claiming force majeure. Russia also exported 11% of the world's urea and 48% of the ammonium nitrate. Russia and Ukraine together export 28% of fertilizers made from nitrogen and phosphorus, as well as potassium, according to Morgan Stanley. Global hunger rose significantly both in 2020 and 21, but what we are going to be dealing with in the months ahead is going to be completely unlike anything that we have ever dealt with in the past. In fact, one commodity expert that was interviewed by CNBC is extremely pessimistic about what is ahead. And he said, all of this is a double whammy, if not a triple whammy. We have geopolitical risk, higher input costs, and basically shortages. And he goes on to say, we have never seen anything like this, and we have not, at least in my lifetime we haven't. He says that since the beginning of 2021, fertilizer prices have more than doubled, and I've shown you some examples in the past where they've gone up tenfold. Some fertilizers have more than doubled in price. For instance, Malik said potash traded in Vancouver was priced at about $210 per metric ton at the beginning of 2021. And now it's valued at $565. That's almost a threefold, ladies and gentlemen. He added that urea was trading for about $268 per metric ton in early 2021, and now it's at $887, ladies and gentlemen. That is more than 3 times its original price. And some parts of the globe, it's even worse. In Peru, fertilizer prices have experienced an almost 4-fold increase. And you probably already know what's going on in Peru. They're having riots because of high gas prices, high food prices, high inflation, high everything, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing that the government knows how to do, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much print money. And all the money that you can print in the world doesn't mean that there's going to be some product on the other side that you can use it to buy it. All right, it just means that the product that you're trying to buy with that money is going to cost a lot more nominally because there's more dollars chasing the same amount of goods. And as far as here in the United States, it's just not going to be profitable for many farmers to grow corn this year because corn needs a high amount of fertilizer. So get ready for them to push on those Beyond Burgers even more because they're probably going to focus their interests more on soybeans than anything else. All over the world, far less fertilizer will be used in 2022, and that means far less food will be grown. I've been shouting this from the top of my lungs for a little bit now. Fertilizer equals food. There will be famines, and one expert is even warning that food scarcity will touch people in the lower income distribution in North America. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, the working class are the ones that feel it the most, because whenever they have to spend more on food, it is a higher percentage of what they earn than someone who earns a lot more. The average middle class person, I believe, or middle class family spends about 15%, I believe, of their income on food. And then your lower class or poor family spend about 10%. We're talking about an erosion of food security on a scale we have not seen for a long time. And I think it will touch people in the lower income distribution in North America, he added. But as long as you have a decent income, you will still be able to go to the store and buy food in the months ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, stock up now. This is the time to stock. And if you don't have a decent income, all right, if you don't have the capacity to go out there and stock up in a hurry, get an extra job. This is how dire it is. I'm so proud of one of our community members. And she said that she couldn't really afford to prep, so she went ahead and she started doing, I think she said Uber or DoorDash. One of those two. She started doing one of those two services, and she was using that money to prep with. Now she knows what's coming. She can feel what's coming. If not, she wouldn't be doing that. And I think that is awesome. Don't restrict yourself to what your life is right now. Decide what it is that you want. And if you cannot obtain it in your current status, in your current situation, then find a way to obtain it. If it means doing DoorDash, then go do DoorDash. If it means driving an Uber, go drive an Uber. Right, ladies and gentlemen? You can do it because no one else is going to do it for you. And the government is not going to be there for you. When Boris Johnson said that his people were just going to have to sacrifice, that they were going to have to go without heat or without food, he meant that. You know why? It was easy for him to say that because he knew that he himself would not have to go without. He's not going to have to go without. When the President of the United States said that, yeah, we are going to go into a food scarcity problem. We're going to have a food crisis. Worldwide, he said. He said that we were going to have a food crisis, but did he give any solutions? Their solution is to print money and hope that the food magically appears out of nowhere. And here's a new shortage that I haven't talked about, but pasta. And of course now eggs as well with this H5N1 going around. Shortages are intensifying all over our country, and in particular we have seen an alarming shortage of pasta begin to happen in certain stores. The following comes from an article that was just posted on All News Pipeline. First it was eggs and now it is pasta. The eggs have been missing for well over a week now, and yesterday morning I was surprised to see the pasta was also mostly bare. Also, some of the shelves, he says, ladies and gentlemen, are being front loaded, pretty much trying to make the shelf look full when it's really mostly empty. If things are this crazy already, what will conditions be like in 6 months? In 6 months, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to know so much. In 6 months, we will know how our harvest is going. I am very curious to see how our corn will be doing on the 4th of July. That's going to be a big indicator for us. And as I am, ladies and gentlemen, he's been trying to sound the alarm about the coming global famine for years. And now it is here. We are at the door, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the precipice of what will be a history-changing event. We will be talking about this for decades and generations to come. And I'm not saying that to be dramatic. It's true. I believe it. Like I said at the top of this article, for now we are still eating food that was produced last year to a large degree. Just wait until we get to the end of this year and beyond. It won't be pretty. Unprecedented times call for unprecedented measures, and I hope that this article will give you a sense of urgency to take action. Amen to that. But he says, unfortunately, most people still assume that everything will turn out just fine, somehow, and so they won't do anything to get prepared until it is far too late. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever heard the adage that I'd rather be prepared 10 years too early than one day too late? Well, you better take heed to that. Start prepping now. Even if you go to your store, your supermarket, whatever it is, even if you see that the shelves are full, take advantage of this time now. Even if you have to get a second job so that you can prepare, take advantage that you have the opportunity to do that now. Because we are going to need our preps. I hope that you're taking heed to the warning. I hope that you're prepping. And I hope that you're taking care of your family. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what preparedness is about. It's about taking care of your families. What else is there? Having said that, I hope that you have a great week. Thank you very much for joining in. And thank you very much to all of you that joined in on yesterday's live stream. It was a really good time, right? So thank you very much for doing that. Every time we have a live stream, we always have a great time. We have a great community at that. Having said that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place. And you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out. Ladies and gentlemen, I understand that not everyone is in the part of their preparedness plan where they should be storing long-term freeze-dried food. But if you are, take a look at nutrient survival. I stand behind this food because it is the most nutrient-dense food in the market. It tastes great, they have outstanding customer service, and the company is run by great people that I call my friends. You're not going to find a more nutrient-dense food that tastes good and is reasonably priced when compared to other major brands. I wouldn't stand behind Nutrient Survival if I didn't personally use it and love it. So feed your freedom with Nutrient Survival.